Hi, this is Katie Cromit, Certified Zentangle Teacher. I recorded a very quick video about how to carve fragments, Zentangle fragments, out of carving material so that you have a repeating stamp made from a very small piece of carving material. So you're going to need some sort of carving material, and I've listed here Speedball, Speedy Carve, but you can really use anything from even like a small eraser to all sorts of different carving material that is available at the store. Then the next thing that you need is something to carve your material with. It's technically called a linoleum cutter, but Speedball makes a whole set of carving tools that just carve up your rubber material. Then you're going to want to draw on the material what the image is that you want to carve, and you're going to carve out the negative space. So I found fragment U4, which is very simple, and it's to the right of the material that I'm going to carve. And I've drawn that image onto the material. So then the cutting begins. And you really don't have to have a very heavy hand with cutting the carving material, because even just the slightest pressure will create an indent, and that indent, when you ink it up with your ink pad, it will create a space. I tend to be kind of a heavy hander when I'm cutting or I'm doing something that's not very straight line, but you know, this is really just quick to get the picture. And honestly, pardon my lack of manicure and the mess that my nails are. But such is life. Also, I'm carving right next to my cat, who insists that he wants to be right next to me. So I took a larger gouge. It's a different type of the Speedball carving tool that has just a wider gauge to it, that it can cut bigger areas. The first one, I start with a really fine gauge, and then I'm not even sure if gauge is the right word for it, and then use this thicker one. And with cutting larger chunks of that rubber material off, I'm not sure you can see it here, but I'm sort of going on the side and using the side of that tool instead of the actual tip. So now it's time to actually ink up your little stamp that you've carved and clean up any of the messy edges or whatnot. And then here's your first inked up impression. What I like about carving these fragments is that you carve a little stamp, but then when you place the stamp next to each other, you can form big patterns. So there's a big bang for a little buck, if you will. So I'm just showing how I'm going along and inking and stamping, inking and stamping. I ink up every time I stamp so that I make sure that I have enough, except for maybe that one. And then I'm just trying to get as close as possible to my the previous stamp. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed.